Okay, so it is about 11:15, and we're going to start walking around the island. We'll see how long it takes us. We're actually not doing it as far as like how long it would take us to walk around. But the point is that it's very doable to walk around this island. Unlike the other one that we stayed at, Cogdonau Island in the Philippines. That was, I'll show the video for that up here. I'll put a link to it rather, and I'll also put a link down below in the description. But Cogdonau Island in the Philippines was a fairly large island. I think this one is probably, I don't know, maybe 60 acres, something like that. I'm sure it says it somewhere, but it's not that big. Slate is over there, and it's probably about half the size of Grape. Bumpkin is a little bit larger than Grape. It's definitely higher at the top. So it's a great place to spend the summers, man. It's probably about 85 degrees, probably about 85% humidity, which I'm totally cool with, but it's hot for most people, but perfect for me. Love it. I can't help but wonder who the first person was to before they left the house on a hot day, the night before. They see, look at that. Barking dog, like that far away. Dude, I would not. I would hate to be his neighbor. People that have barking dogs, I don't understand them. I don't understand how they can not even have the slightest idea that that's inconsiderate to the people around you. But again, like I've said many times, I basically feel like I'm from another planet for the most part. There's just some things that a lot of people, I just look at them and I'm like, how do they get through life? How do they get through the world acting like that? But trust me, I'm sure there's many behaviors that I have that others find odd or judge negatively. But anyway, I wonder who the first guy was or gal who said, you know, it's going to be hot tomorrow. So rather than take a whole bunch of ice and some drinks, why don't we put our drinks in the freezer the night before and then use them as ice, and as the ice melts, we get to drink ice cold water. And I wonder if it was also the same person that did that said, hey, if this works for water, this will work great for soda. And they put a Coke in the freezer, and they were also the first person to realize, don't do that. You ever do one of those, you know, I'm just gonna put this in the freezer for like 5 or 10 minutes to cool it down, and then you get distracted? And then you either hear a very disconcerting noise, or you do a face palm. So it's funny, there's so many things in my life that like are my happy place. So I guess that's a really interesting thing. I haven't really talked about. No, it's not pouring rain. Gracie's just Asian. So she's got her. But anyway, currently I am in my happy place. And so I wonder what that place is for others. I know that I have many more than just one. But I think for me, environment is a big thing. So I don't know if there are any happy places I have that are below 70 degrees. But that was my life in the summers as a young boy. Driving quickly in my whaler out among the islands. Best childhood ever. So I have those memories. And you know, it's interesting. I think I've gone through the stage of where I have these great memories, right? And I want to like recreate them. And the recreation, while having the opportunity to be better than the original experience, sadly, you know, you set yourself up for potential disappointment, right? Because you've got these expectations, premeditated resentments, right? or a resentment, premeditated expectation. So the it's pretty cool. It's actually quite clean here. There's not a whole lot of garbage. I mean, there's always a lobster pot buoy that sort of, you know, floats up. I had that happen to me. That was lame. And I also had the experience where I was pulling up one of my lobster pots and the rope broke just as I saw it. So that was all right. So I was batting 500 with my 2 lobster pots. But yeah, so this is one of my places. Put in the comments down below, or whether you're watching on the website or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to know where your happy place is, because I have this guy. He may or may not be related to me. His name is Jim Somerville. And I either found him or he found me on Facebook, and it was, I don't know if you guys ever remember this ad that was popping up on Facebook, and basically what it allowed you to do, or what it did, is it scraped all the data from Facebook. Oh, not all the data. It scraped your last name from Facebook. And then in the ad, the ad that you saw was had your last name on the T-shirt, and it said something cute like, "Oh, I once I thought I was wrong, but then I knew that was impossible because I'm a, Somerville, Smith, Jones, whatever." And so he and his wife live down in the southwest Florida. And I missed him by like basically a day. We were down in Lover's Key, which is on the west side, over near Naples. And we went there for a long weekend because Southern California was ridiculously freezing. So those geese right there, Canada geese, not Canadian geese, Canada geese, when they're not flying south for the winter, they're hanging out apparently on Grape Island. The island manager, Mike, when we got on, and he sort of checked us in, if you will, he said that, yeah, and then we have geese here, and he was disappointed. I'm like, why? He goes, they poop all over my dock. So clearly one of the duties of the island manager is to make sure the dock is fairly clean. So, but that said, you also get to live here, where it is not always like this. I get it. It does rain for sure in the summer and can be cold and windy. It gets storms, thunderstorms for sure. But he experiences this Thursday through Sunday every week. And he works for the parks, the national. So what's interesting is the Trustees of Reservations is actually made up of national or state, Massachusetts, and national parks. I didn't realize that. But yeah, Grape Island. So anyway, my happy place. Definitely, I do more videos when I'm in happy places. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my job, and I am blessed to work where I work, because they basically pay me to do what I love, which is discover new technology, and have some boundaries around my budget. That helps me grow, and so that I don't just buy everything. But I deploy new technology as it's related to IT, meaning IT solutions that basically help your business. So whatever infrastructure that might be, I get to discover what I get to look around at bleeding edge stuff and say, okay. And then by the time it sort of hits cutting edge stage, the university's been quite supportive of me putting those in place. My team putting those in place. Let me be clear. I don't know about you guys that are managers or directors or whatever, but if anyone ever looks at us, right, the people that sort of manage people, and I understand why they congratulate us, right? Because it's like, yeah, I mean, we had some vision. We had to have some vision. The only way to be a leader is to have at least one follower. And, to do that without using positional power and just putting a gun to the person's head, it's actually kind of nice when they follow you on their own free will. And And so I gratefully have a team of guys that, under their own free will, seem to follow my vision of where we're going to go, as far as making sure that USD remains online 101% of the time. And so that's a happy place for sure, but you know, a lot of my happying involves sitting at a desk staring at a computer, typing, learning, reading, watching, you know. So, you know, that wouldn't make for much of a YouTube video. Although I certainly think this stuff does. Maybe it doesn't. So Gracie's back there, which is neat. She's like exploring sort of at her own rate with her umbrella. Which, you know, it's funny. I mean, I remember when I first started like sort of seeing Asian women, right? Because guys don't necessarily do this, but Asian women specifically, walking in the sun. And I think actually it was this one woman that I work with. She's from the Philippines, or she's Filipina. Has lived here for years, but she'll walk around campus in the summer with an umbrella. And of course I would, you know, naturally, I thought that was kind of funny. And then I discovered how old she was. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a direct correlation between walking around on a sunny day with an umbrella and you looking basically about 20 to 25 years younger than you really are. That was pretty amazing. I thought, oh well, too late. Because when I was a kid, I can tell you right now, when I was a kid, if we had walked into a store and there had been suntan lotion, which is what we referred to it. We didn't refer to it as sunblock. We called it suntan lotion. If there was anything above SPF 25 or 30, we would have been like, oh yeah, this must be a joke. This must be one of those Saturday Night Live commercials, right? And if we had seen what we have, like we have today, which is SPF 50, I have SPF 30 spray at home, and I know there's no way I could have bought that when I was a kid. But you know, SPF 50. In fact, I even remember in the 6th grade, I remember doing writing an essay on what the future would be like. And I said things like, gas will be $5 a gallon, houses will cost $1 million, and we will be wearing SPF 50. And at the time, all those numbers seemed so ridiculous. It was like watching the movie 2010 back in 1985 or 86 or whatever it came out. And being like, oh right, like there will ever be HAL. And what is HAL today? It is literally IBM Watson. And how did they come up with the name HAL in that movie? Each letter is one letter before IBM. So there was obviously someone, and I don't know if it was their current CEO, Ginny, that had that vision back then. I think she's a little bit older than me, but I think when 2010 came out with HAL, I'm trying to remember when that was. I'll find it and Google it. But the point is that, you know, back then I thought, oh, that'll never happen. Gas will never be $5. Houses will never cost $1 million. And there will be never anything such as SPF 50. That is absolutely like when Star Trek becomes a reality. And you're able to like move your fingers across a television set and actually interface with your fingers, and you won't need a keyboard. Make it so, number one. And here I sit doing, let's see, I think my videos are all 720p, just because I don't want to chew up a whole bunch of memory, and it's good enough for what I do. Basically, which is to document my fun travels with Gracie and make sure my mom can see them. Because she likes to watch those, and she sort of believes that she's hanging out with me to some degree when I'm doing those. And I am all for hanging out with mom. So yeah, that was a neat little jaunt to just go out there. I never got into the whole fishing thing. My friend Brian, man, that guy fishes. I mean, when we were younger, and it was around the time when we first got our driver's license, you know, so like 17, 18, and then even when he would be home in the summers from college, 18, 19, he would get up at like 4:30 in the morning, which for an 18 or 19-year-old, that was way early. Today, it's my default setting. But when I was that age, he would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and go out and go fishing. And I never understood the joy that he got from that, but that was his happy place, right? And so I don't think it's necessarily a requirement that your mate always carry around an umbrella. No, always basically shares the same happy place. Because I know plenty of couples that, you know, the guy will go off and do his thing and the woman will go off and do her thing. And then they come back together and they do their things. And so obviously there's some degree of autonomy that is healthy. And we have that for sure. But it's nice being able to, because I don't know about you guys, like I don't know if you call them fantasies, but I certainly have these like ideas in my mind, like as I'm falling asleep or if I'm daydreaming and I'm just not in the mood to be at a conference or whatever. And I'm watching, or in my mind, I'm thinking about, you know, us being here, right? And so, like, what would it look like? What'll it be like when Gracie is here with me and I can show her Grape Island? And yeah, I mean, sure enough, she likes it. And technically, she's never camped in the sense that she's never had a tent and been in the woods for recreation, being attacked by a crow that is the... Wait a minute, is that a crow? Or is that that's a hawk? That's a majestic bird. She's slept in the woods when her and her dad used to basically go out and, believe it or not, they used to hunt wood. And what I mean by that is they would go out, they would chop down wood, and they would slowly burn it and make charcoal. And they would sell one big bag of charcoal for 50 pesos or $1. And they would be out there for about 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks they would get enough charcoal made, I believe she said, to sell 30 bags of charcoal. So they would make 1,500 pesos at today's exchange rate. That is $30 for 2 weeks' work. But she also got to spend time with her dad. And you could argue that there are probably some people out there that go work 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day so they can earn enough money to put their child or children in daycare. And after they pay for the car that they use to get back and forth to work, after they buy gas for that car, after they buy insurance for that car, and after they pay their monthly daycare bill, they end up with $30 in their pocket. Or if you were to extrapolate that out, 2 weeks at 30, right? So $60 a month. And I would bet that there are some people, not necessarily watching my videos, but I bet you there are some people out there that do that. They have all this sort of infrastructure that they have in place. And again, you don't just buy your car so that you can drive it back and forth to your son or daughter's daycare. But you see my point, don't you? She got to spend 2 quality weeks with her dad, and she reflects back on that as like the coolest thing ever, you know? And her sisters wouldn't do it, and her brothers wouldn't do it. But she and Gaudencio would head out and go make charcoal. That's pretty great. So I don't know if I've lost her or not. No, she's just, oh yeah, so she has a fan as well as an umbrella, so. And I brought 1 Diet Coke, and I thought that would be enough. Of course, I'm also talking, so that's probably another reason why my mouth is parched. But anyway, happy place. Think about your happy place. Share your happy place with me, because I'm more than open to someone else's new happy place. If you say it's downhill skiing in northern Vermont in February, that will get a thumbs up and a good for you for me. But I am not going to meet you there ever again. I have turned in my Rosignol's for a pair of reef flip-flops. Turned in my Rosies for some reefs. And so I am very, very happy below latitude 20. Or wait, what is the tropics technically? Below latitude 23, is that right? Anyway, I love this. And this sound right here, That's another part of my happy place. I could listen to that for hours. And maybe I shall. Anyway, thanks. Just wanted to check in. What's your happy place? Yeah. Thanks for watching. For me and Gracie. Hopefully you're living the dream. Because if you're not living the dream, you're doing it wrong.